Hi, welcome to the Rediscovery Centre, Go Green Crafts. And we're not just going craft for St. Patrick's Day, which is the 17th of March, as we all know, but I'm here in the Rediscovery Centre, which is all about sustainability and reuse and using things that we have already in our home. For example, today what I'm going to do is reuse Tetra Paks, which I'm sure you might all have at home. And I'm also going to be using cardboard and fabrics and some leftover paints, non-toxic paints, to make these bird feeders and the fabrics for these lovely wreaths for your door for St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to start off with the bird feeders. So I have a Tetra Pak here. Now you probably will need an adult with you for this because it does involve some cutting. Now I've got two sizes of Tetra Paks there, smaller or larger, it doesn't really matter, because the little birds will go for this or the little birds will go for that. So what we need to do first, before we paint our Tetra Pak, is to cut. Now I am using a very sharp knife, so you have to be really careful and get an adult to do this. And if your adults don't have a knife in the house, they can use scissors. What we need to do first is, we're going to cut a hole in here so that the birds can actually see the food that's in this Tetra Pak. So, if I take this up here, I'm going to keep it away from my body just for safety. I'm going to cut across here. I'm going to kind of cut a square or a rectangle. You don't have to be fussy because the birds aren't fussy. So as you can see, we have cut kind of a rectangle into the Tetra Pak, and I have left this piece at the end to stick out that I can use as a shelf for the birds, but you don't have to. You can also cut that off. And this is not the only way you can do this box. You know, you can cut different holes, but to keep it kind of firm and steady, I have just cut one hole in it. So then what we need to do is collect twigs outside or little sticks that are kind of firm because they're going to have to go through this box. So you're going to need an adult as well to cut a hole where you think the bird is going to stand or sit trying to eat the food, which would be here. So we cut a hole in there by an adult. And if you can measure from there to there, but you don't have to be exact for this because the birds don't know about these perfect designs. And the same at the back, but please mind your fingers. So we're going to do a hole in the back as well. We're going to get the twig and stick it through the front part of the Tetra Pak to the back part of the Tetra Pak. So can you see that? So that the bird can happily sit here eating his little bird feed that you're going to provide him with. Now we can cut off this bit if you want, which I will do. But as I said, you don't have to. So now there's the basic bird feeder. So what I'm going to do next is, because I have leftover green paint, and for St. Patrick's Day, I've decided to paint these bird feeders green. How perfect is that? So I have some green paint over here. So I've used just any green paint you have. If you want to make it a bit darker, put some more blue in. And by the way, if you don't have green at home and you might have yellow and blue, just mix the two of them together, and I'll show you that here. I have a little bit of yellow. You put in blue there and you end up with green, as you can see there. Different kind of a shade of green. If you want it brighter, add more yellow. If you want it darker, add more blue. So now I'm going to start painting this green. Next stage. So it might need a few coats. So what you need to do in between is let it dry. Okay, because you can see it's not giving much coverage there, but it will. So you can paint all of it or none of it or whatever you want. You don't have to paint it, but I'm particularly using green for St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure we're all looking forward to St. Patrick's Day. So the birds are really looking forward to St. Patrick's Day because they're going to get fed well this year. So, okay, I have just painted the front of the box there. You can paint up here as well, wherever you want. So as I said, you have to let that dry. Okay, so little hands can paint that. Probably a good idea to put an apron on or something to protect your clothes. So I'm going to leave that to dry. And here are some that I have painted already. And I have the twig in, or the little stick in as well. So I painted this one green, as you can see, and I painted on some little shamrocks. Aren't they cute? Now the shamrocks are quite easy to draw. If you want to draw them by hand, it's basically just like 3 hearts, let's say, 3 heart shapes. And I'll show you that just briefly if I do it with pencil. And you see that heart shape there? If not, I can paint it in for you and give you a little bit of a closer shamrock there. They're easy to, you don't even have to actually really draw them in. And they don't have to be perfect because every single shamrock is different. Okay? See that there? And I've actually put some flowers on that side just because it's spring and the flowers are beginning to bloom at the moment. So there's one that I have prepared earlier. And I've got other ones here just to show you. Here's one that I have put the sky into. And I put different holes into that one. And this one really, I don't put the stick into it because I have these other little standalone things for the birds. So the birds can access this at all sides. And because I didn't do a big square, it's firm enough to hold its own. Okay? So there's another one here that if you want, you can put on some, if you draw some leaves, cut them out and stick them on. Or, you know, shamrocks, whatever you want, you can really stick them on. So the way we're going to hang this up is, probably need an adult as well. I'm using some twine here, but you don't have to. You can use some fabric that you might have, anything at all. And what we do is we take the lid off, or you can cut a hole in the top, but I prefer to do this rather than cutting any holes. Just put that into the hole like that, or the top. Put the lid on as firmly as you can. And then tie it at the top, and you can hang it. Where I have mine at home is on my clothesline. And the birds really, really use it all of the time. So that's my bird feeder for St. Patrick's Day, Go Green Crafts. And there's lots of different choices there, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next Go Green craft at the Rediscovery Centre, which is this really cute St. Patrick's Day wreath. So easy to make, using all reused materials as well. Now we have a choice. If you can find a hanger at home and kind of put it into it, it doesn't have to be a complete circular shape, all the better because you already have a hanger on top. You can use that. But what you can also do is if you have some, maybe a sweet, kind of a plastic sweet box at home, you can use the circular lid of it and just put a circle in the middle. Or I've used cardboard here that I had. Hi. And I've actually drawn a circle around a smaller circle with a dish that I had. And then you can draw another circle around. You have to do an exact circle either. So what we have to do then is, and this really needs an adult because this cardboard is really quite firm. And so we're just cutting out basically the circles. And as I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because the fabric is going to cover it. Just to show you, but I find that, there we go, it just shows you like it's not perfect, but it's going to look perfect when you have all the fabric around it. So that's using cardboard. I'll just put that over there. So what I did was I rummaged around, and because at the Rediscovery Centre we're donated lots of fabrics that would have otherwise been thrown into landfill. So of course we reuse everything. So I found all of these really nice colours in our fashion workshop. And what I did was cut them up into strips. You don't have to measure the strips because some of them you might have more of the material than others. So just cut whatever you want because you can trim them at the end. For the likes of cotton, it's great if they have the same colour on both sides. You see that's kind of white on one side and it has a pattern on the other. Can still be used, but with really strong cotton you need to cut them a little bit thinner. And I've cut some thinner ones here because they're easier to tie down. Okay, so all we're doing really now is getting our circle or our hanger, I'll show you both, and tying them. And I would tie them twice because they're inclined to come undone. And what I'm inclined to do is just put them around at different sections of the circle first until you decide what kind of pattern you want. Now if you don't have green, there's also orange, there's white for St. Patrick's Day. Please don't cut your school uniform with green, not a good idea. So right, I have 4 done there, and the light of the hanger is the exact same. Any circular kind of firm enough that it's not going to disintegrate as soon as you touch it, okay? So the same with the hanger, we're going to go round and round and round. I can tell you how many pieces of fabric you need, depends on how thickly you cut them, depends on what you want it to look like. I would say about 50, but it doesn't have to be that amount, it can be a lot less. So I'm going to just tie a little few more here just to show you. I think these are really nice on your door for St. Patrick's Day. So people, you know, going by I know there's not many people out at the moment, but they will see a wreath on your door if somebody's going within the 5K and doing a bit of exercise. It's lovely to see them on the door, particularly if they're made at home and they're made using fabric that would otherwise have been thrown out, you know. Actually, I'm going to put gold, because green, white and gold, yeah. It's a longer strip, but that doesn't matter. Maybe I'll decide to cut that in two. And actually keep your scissors for cutting fabric, for only cutting fabric, because if you cut with a paper with a fabric scissors, it blunts it. But then if you want to sharpen the scissors, you can always use tin foil, because that will sharpen it for you at home if you don't have a proper sharpener. Okay, so I'm going to do two here. Nothing yet, so you keep building up and building up. Let's use another colour. So I'll use a thinner colour. As I was saying, with the cotton you really need to make them thinner because they're harder to tie, you know. So I'm going to show you this one that has been done. And so I can add more to that. You see the colours I have chosen there. So what I can do with this one is just say, I think, oh, this side needs a little bit more. It's basically whatever fabric you can find in the house. So you might be going on a fabric hunt or for green for Patrick's Day. And actually green paper could work, but I suppose you'd have to do it in a different way. You'd nearly almost have to paste the paper onto the circle as well. So I put some nice sparkly gold into that as well. And I think that's a really nice wreath hanging on your door. So you know what, if you try these at home, I'd really love to see them. So maybe you could send in an image to info@rediscoverycentre.ie. And all I can do now is wish you all a really happy St. Patrick's Day. Stay safe and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.